What's up, guys? It is time for another episode of ESPN Cricinfo Mute Me. Now, I know you're familiar with Alexis Nunes in this seat, but given the spice that Aakash Chopra and Tom Moody had going between them the last time we did a Mute Me, Alexis just needed some time off in this Christmas period in London, not to mention the slight challenge with the time difference and a time zone calculation between Alexis in London and Michael Hussey, who makes his debut joining us in Melbourne. Melbourne, the city that gave India its finest overseas test victory in recent times. Boy, that's the city I'll remember. That's how I'll remember it now. Gentlemen, you know the rules. Aakash and Tom, you definitely do. You get 60 seconds to make your statement and your case. If in those 60 seconds, both other panelists put up their mute signs, that's it. Job done. You can't speak anymore. And we'll find out why these two gentlemen with such a fine reputation of being polite chose to not let you finish your statement. Try and give someone 15 seconds. You know, it's the common courtesy these days. India, Australia love each other these days. So give your opponent 15 seconds at least to make his point. Are you set, gentlemen? Let's go for it. We'll go with the tried and tested personnel. So Mike Hussey gets a drill of this, but something tells me he's going to be just fine on his debut. Aakash Chopra, I'd like you to open, is what Saurav Ganguly and me have both said in common in our lives. Go for it.
Okay. So my statement is that there is a significant decline in Australian batsmen's batting skills in Test match cricket. Now, the reason why I say that is because when you see the Australian Test batting of old, the years gone by 2 decades ago, you would see quality after quality after quality. We have one gentleman in our panel itself where you don't get an opportunity if you score, even after you score like 10,000 first-class runs. There seems to be a significant decline now with regards to how the long-form format has been now played. You see them struggle against pace. You see them struggle against spin. You see them struggle in tough conditions when they come to India. And now they're also struggling at home. My final point is, it's been 13 test innings against India that a single Australian batsman hasn't scored a century.
That's it. On point. I was wondering what's taking you two so long. Aakash made it sound like these are the darkest, gloomiest days for Australian batting. And finally, Messrs. Hussey muted him in sync. So let's go to Tom first. Tom, why'd you mute him?
Well, I agreed with Aakash for the most of his point, but I think it's a global issue. I think that Australia is not alone here. I think Test cricket and the art of batsmanship in Test cricket is and has been in decline for some time. I think the influence of the shorter formats of the game has changed training habits, techniques, to the point where when you have high quality test fast bowling or swing bowling or spin bowling, it is opened up like a can of beans.
Michael Hussey?
Yeah, I agree with what Tom's saying there. The techniques have certainly changed, I guess, over the last few years with T20 cricket coming in. But I also think that Australia's batting is not as bad as what Aakash is making out. You know, Steve Smith's still averaging over 60. Any player can have a little bit of a lean trot. Marnus Labuschagne's had a good start to his career. David Warner's got to come back into the team. Yes, there's a couple of other guys that are battling a little bit. But also the pitches, I think, are changing and changing for the good. I think there was a period there over a number of years where pitches got really flat and we saw a lot of huge scores. And I like the idea of pitches starting to have a little bit more in them and testing out the techniques of the batsmen. And unfortunately, some of the batsmen have been found wanting. So around the world, we're seeing some slightly lower scores, which I think is good to see.
All right, quick.
Just one point. Yes, I should have mentioned Steve Smith, barring Steve Smith. But then most teams tend to play very well at home and struggle overseas. That's the decline of batsmanship that we have seen in Test cricket over the last 10, 15 years. Unfortunately, Australia, 2 consecutive tours against India. Last time the pitches were also very pleasant to bat. Pujara will testify to that. So the batting skills are actually, in my opinion, barring Steve Smith, maybe Marnus Labuschagne, they are on a wane.
All right, fine. Let's move on then to our next guest. And Tom Moody, get set and ready because you're up next. Go for it.
Well, my topic is based around the Big Bash, and I think that desperately needs the DRS introduced to it. Now, the reason for this is that I understand that there's additional costs around it, and you need extra camera work, you need extra technology in the dugout to make sure it all works efficiently. But that aside, I still think you can have a DRS, a modified DRS, to protect the game and the integrity of the game. I think at the moment, with the number of decisions that are being made, poor decisions are being made, the integrity of the competition's being questioned, and the potential livelihood of some of the players that are the subjects of those poor decisions are being affected. So I believe that it's something that the Cricket Australia needs to address immediately to make sure that the Big Bash continues to grow and not get caught up.
That's it. That's pretty much it. No, I thought that was such a simple argument. Were you muted because everyone agreed and said, Tom, that's enough, we agree with you? Or were you muted because they don't agree? And because I can't get enough of that. Why did you mute Tom Moody?
It didn't need 45 seconds. The point was made in 20 seconds. That's it. Over. So
all right.
Everything. Yeah, brevity. I've muted him for just breaching the rule of brevity.
Mike Hussey, one of the commentators for the Big Bash League, probably has a problem with this because he thinks if all the money goes into the DRS, then, well, who's going to pay the commentators? Us.
No, I do agree in some part. I think there's a couple of things here. I don't think we need all of the technology. It's basically just need to get rid of the howlers, and we have actually seen some absolute howlers. You just need a replay from a third umpire just to show, mate, he's absolutely smashed that. It shouldn't be out LBW, or he's not hit that at all. You can easily make that call. Other than that, the other point I'd like to make is I think we need to start putting some more time and effort and resources into training up our umpires because, there are certainly far too many mistakes being made.
Aakash, if it's a question of money, let's speak as the richest board in the world with pride and just tell them, just put the franchises out for privatization. Let someone else own them. They'll get a lot of money. You'll have all the umpires you need in the world, all the tech, all the toys. The IPL is the way to do it, right?
Absolutely. Please learn from the Indians. We've done very well. Yes. And you need DRS also. It adds a bit of drama. So that drama is also, I think, is worth its weight in gold, especially in the shortest format. Of course, everywhere it is required is what I feel. Howlers should not be made. Hussey's point is also well taken that if the third umpire is glued in, you can empower him a little more and then get rid of the howlers. But then DRS, if it needs a bit more money to be spent, it's all right. Yeah, privatize. That's fine as well. Add more 2 teams, maybe. That's okay.
But Aakash, we can't afford to have T20s meant to be fast, exciting, fun, things happening all the time. We can't afford T20 games going until, for 4 hours, 5 hours at a time. The kids have got to get to bed, mate. We've got to get the games going, keep them moving.
I agree. You're talking about the bowling over rates now.
Yeah,
they're two different things.
May I just pull out the Chennai Super Kings over 8 chart for a second? Just give me a second. I'm just picking it out now.
Play 4 spinners. We're through our overs in no time.
Tom.
Yeah, look, I just wanted to make it clear that I wasn't talking about adding the DRS technology as an additional cost. Just use the resources that are there to get rid of the howler. That's my point. Yeah, look, I get the fact that, you could sell the teams and make a lot of money. My point's more about just protecting the games that stands at the moment with what you've got. Make the decision right now in the middle of the tournament to better the competition.
Good man, Tom Moody. The integrity of the game above everything else. Let's go to Michael Hussey for his first mute me statement. Huss, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous, I've got to say, and there probably is a few holes in my argument, but I believe the MCG pitch is the blueprint for how pitches in test matches should be around the country. I think, having plenty of grass on it, plenty of movement for the bowlers on the first day, good for batting as we work into day 3 and day 4, and then hopefully breaking up. The problem is with a drop-in, sometimes they don't break up, but if they can find a way to break up, get some cracking going, get some rough there for the spinners to come into play, I think it's the perfect pitch. Something in it for the bowlers to start with, then have good batting conditions, and then have it break up for the spinners and become harder for batting on day 4 and 5. I think that's the perfect test match cricket. It has all the players involved and interested, and all the different types of where batsmen, bowlers, spinners, fast bowlers can all have an impact in the test. So, yeah, I think the MCG pitch was excellent, and it showed it was a great test match. And I guess the good players could still score runs, but the great bowlers could still take wickets as well.
Brilliant. He's wrapped it up. Now, Aakash loved it. He obviously loved the result of the MCG test, and that had nothing to do with why he didn't mute him. But no love from Western Australia for Michael Hussey. Tom?
Yeah, no, look, I hear half of the argument, but just during that argument, there was little bit of a contradiction with regards to if the wicket broke up and if this and if that. To me, it doesn't. That's the problem. So, yes, there's parts of that pitch that it was very good, but the real issue that we face with these drop-in wickets is they don't deteriorate in a natural way like we're used to seeing. So, therefore, you don't have that sort of crumbling, nightmare outside the line of off stump that a batsman has to deal with day 4 and 5. And it brings in a different, spin to the game or intrigue or interest to the game. So that was my reasoning for muting.
Huss, any response?
No, I like that. And if I could only give myself a slight counter argument as well, which is a bit nervous. What I have loved about Australian pitches in the past is that they're all been different. You go to the Wacker and there's lots of pace and bounce. You go to Adelaide Oval and it's very flat and good for batting, and then the spinners come into play. In the old days, the SCG would spin from, early in the test match. And I love that all the pitches had different character, whereas sometimes with the drop-ins, they're all quite similar style pitches. But I must admit, I did like that MCG pitch, how it did have pace and bounce and carry, some seam and movement as well with the grass on the pitch. The spinners could still play a big role as well. But if you were good enough, as Ajinkya Rahane showed, you could score some runs on it as well. So I thought it was an excellent test pitch.
All right, that is a wrap.
So two reasons why I didn't actually mute him. One, of course, it's his debut, so we should all be kind to him.
Thank you.
That's one. So just to make him feel better. And secondly, in the end, you need a result, right? So that Melbourne pitch, batsmanship, the quality of bowling, you put both together, you get a result in 4 days. That's a good pitch for me, as long as the match is not getting it's not a drawn game over 5 days. So any 4-day pitch is absolutely fine.
Oh, any 4-day pitch is fine. I like that. I like it, especially if you turned out to be on the right side of that result. Aakash Chopra loved it. And that is a wrap of Mike Hussey's debut game and on Mute Me, his debut appearance. Now, I need to pick a winner who gets absolutely nothing except brownie points over the other panelists. And Tom Moody has waited a long time to be announced winner. Alexis Nunes has been absolutely ruthless to him. The wait will go on because Aakash Chopra is my winner for today. So well done, Aakash, because Australia's batting. Oh, terrible, shocking. I grew up watching Michael Hussey bat. I grew up watching even Tom Moody bat. And that was better than I didn't. I'm not that old, Tom. But I do believe that this is a serious problem. They better fix this. Get Hussey and Moody into that damn dugout and fix this Australian batting so we can see more of a series, because India are probably going to win this now 3-1. That's a wrap on ESPN Cricinfo Mute Me. Thank you very much to Tom Moody, Mike Hussey and Aakash Chopra. Thank God they can't mute me for what I say towards the end of this show.